Let's talk about weekly goals again because about 2 weeks ago, I set some weekly goals and I did not quite meet them. Also, my throat is a little dry right now because yesterday I was hosting like a little mini devil's plan thing for my friends. A lot of talking. Anyways, for weekly goals, I stumbled across a thought while doing my audio journal this morning. And it's a thought that made me light up. It's a thought that I was like, wow, this actually is probably the best weekly goal that I can have. And that's what I want to talk about is basically what is the best weekly goal that you can possibly have. Obviously, it depends on what your goal is, but I actually think that I had the right idea in my earlier video, which was to just not exactly have a specific weekly goal because you don't really need it, right? As long as you show up to the session, the planned session of work every day, like let's say my goal is related to piano, as long as I show up to practice piano and I'm focusing on like reaching that overall goal, then I don't really need a weekly goal exactly. It's just an overall goal that will take however much time it will take to reach. I don't have to like try to speed run to it, even though it could be helpful in some senses, but it really depends on what you're doing. Like I said, if it's a skill based one, like with piano, then good luck with that because that's really, really hard to do. Let me see if this is too hot to drink. No, it's okay actually. It's still kind of hot. But basically, the best weekly goal, in my opinion, is to make it a goal that you show up every single day and meet the hours that you intended on for that specific sort of work related to your goal. So, to give an example, for piano, my weekly goal that one time was to finish playing by ear the Demon Slayer song, Tanjiro's theme. And I didn't do that mainly because last week was hell for me in terms of freelance work. And I didn't do that because of that. And because of that, I didn't spend any time actually working on the goal. So I think I have to take it a step back and sort of make the goal to simply show up and put in the hours that I intended on. So for piano, it's about 2 hours each day. And honestly, I have not practiced piano for 2 hours each day for a long time. Like I used to do that way more, like before my whole Japan era. I used to do that like way more consistently. I would practice about 2 hours each day, just learning a random piece that I wanted to learn, or working on repertoire, or working on playing by ear. Like it would total up to be about 2 hours a day, which honestly isn't that much if you are beyond like intermediate for piano level. So I want to actually practice way more than that, but with my current workload, I can only probably do that much before I feel like I need to do my other stuff. And also my hands eventually get tired, so that's another factor. Don't want to aggravate the hands too much. You want to make sure they stay strong, especially the wrists, and stretch it out and all that stuff. But so 2 hours for now is a pretty good number, but I'm not doing it. So basically, my weekly goal this time around, and it's gonna be a little modified because I do have some stuff coming up where I won't be able to practice piano. So 4 days out of 7, because a week is 7 days. So 4 out of 7 is majority of days. So what I'm gonna do for this week is challenge myself to not have any specific thing that I'm trying to reach, but to simply make the weekly goal to put in the exact amount of time I want daily for each goal. So I'm about to start a Japanese challenge, which is to learn kanji. And for that, I just want to spend, let's say, 45 minutes, exactly 45 minutes just studying kanji daily for 4 days for this week. That's like the weekly goal I have for Japanese. And then for piano, I want to spend exactly 2 hours. I can go over 2 hours if I want to, but at least 2 hours of practicing playing by ear and also working on my original piece. Those are like the two main things right now for piano. And then for the audiobook, I'm going to spend at the very least, I'd say, because this one's a little harder because of freelance work, because sometimes freelance work is like, I can't predict when it is, because a good amount of my freelance work is from Fiverr, and sometimes people just place orders and then I just have to do the order. But I have turned that off for the rest of this month because I do want to focus on my audiobook. But there are still clients that I still do work for because it's on a continuous basis. So I need to be a little bit flexible with this one, but I think I want to spend at the very least, I'd say 3 hours. Ideally 4, but at the very least 3 hours for my audiobook each day. And that's, it doesn't sound like much, but for these hours, I want it to be like very focused, very intentional with what I'm doing with my time, no distractions, like purely just working on the thing. So if I were to add all of it up, that's 6 hours of dedicated focus time on something for 4 days. Today's Sunday, so that means for Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Wednesday, I don't know why I did it out of order. For those days, I'm just gonna make sure I spend those 6 hours on the allocated like sections and things. And I do have goals in general for them, which is to finish the audiobook, to improve with playing by ear so I can actually play by ear the Demon Slayer song, and then finish my original. Man, my throat. Okay, that was hot. Oh, too big of a gulp. Okay. But not bad. Okay, it feels a little bit better now because of the heat. But after that, and then Japanese for the 45 minutes. I'm saying 45 minutes because it'll likely be closer to an hour, but sometimes I know it's gonna be like tiring. So having that 15-minute leeway is nice. But basically that is my weekly goal for this week. It isn't anything specific. It isn't like I have to have learned, exactly 20 kanji or 40 kanji or something in those 4 days, which is what I'm gonna try to do. But it's more so just showing up and putting in the time and the focus time. Really, really make it focused and time it. Actually time it. That's like another important aspect, is to actually time it and be like, okay, I actually put in the time. That's why I like the one app from before, but it had like a free trial that I wasn't even aware of. So Toggle, that's what it was called. So that's why I liked it, because it basically allowed me to do that. But yeah, I feel like a regular timer works fine. Just like start the timer, or like a Pomodoro timer or something, and then just be like, yep, I'm spending the time now. So it's really as simple as that. It doesn't need to be like a dedicated whole thing. Although I do want to create something like that eventually, where it's all like in one app, like tracking time, also a Pomodoro timer, also like the overall goal, like everything in just one app would be very, very, very nice. So I will attempt to create that eventually. But for now, just setting that timer, making sure I do the time is pretty much it. And I think the way that I'm gonna track that is to record myself. That's pretty much how I've always done it for all of these things. And it feels way better and more efficient whenever I'm recording myself doing something, because I know that I'm on camera. So it's like, I don't know, it just feels like I'm being held accountable in some way. So for Japanese practice, I intend on recording all of it and basically trying my best to make content out of it, basically being like, all right, let's learn 5 kanji together, and we just do it together. And then upload that video immediately. Spend 0 time editing, because that's like, I can't spend extra time when I'm already spending so much time doing other things for now. And that's a problem for another day to solve. But anyways, this is the weekly goal structure that I'm gonna have for now, is to just see how much time I end up spending where I wanted to spend that time. So it's gonna be a comparison of that. So at the end of this week, I should see, so 4 days, like I said, out of the 7 days. So those are the 3 categories for now, which is the audiobook, piano, and Japanese. So for audiobook, I should see 3 times 4, so 12, and then piano, 2 times 4, 8. I should see 8 hours for piano, having, you know, like in my videos or something. And then for Japanese, same amount. So 4 times, let's say an hour, so 4 hours. That is the weekly goal for this week, and we'll check in again like last time. I think it'll be very obvious whether or not I succeed based on the recordings that I have. Yeah, so maybe it's not timers that I'll be using, more so just like filming myself do stuff. Yeah, which is good because I've been wanting to film myself work on my audiobook, because eventually I'm going to create a video talking about the process of it, so it makes sense to have some footage to use while I'm actually in the process of it. So, and then the piano stuff I record myself all the time anyways in Japanese. Yeah, it's very easy to do this. Yeah. Okay, that's it for this one. Let me know what you guys think. Am I wrong about this? Should it be more specific? Should it be like about trying to accomplish some milestone versus just putting in the time? Because honestly, I feel like when I thought of this, I was like, okay, you know, weekly goals pretty useless. Just show up and do the time that you want, right? Spend the time allocation for that task, and that's good enough. But then somehow in my mind, making that the weekly goal feels like a little trick that triggers something in my brain, which is like, yeah, that is the weekly goal, and I feel like excited to do it and motivated to do it. So it might just be a little mental trick that works only on me, but I feel like it is probably the best weekly goal to have because it's measurable. It's like fully measurable by just like the amount of time that you spend instead of like reaching a specific spot, you know? Okay, that's it for this one. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.